Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to talk to you about whether you can actually fail your dissertation and can you fail your PhD. So if you don't know me, I am an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I want to pay the favor forward and help you out as much as I possibly can. So can you actually fail your dissertation? Absolutely, you can fail your dissertation. It does happen fairly often, actually. I don't quite know what the numbers are, but from the people that actually start a PhD program to when they actually end a PhD program, a rough estimate is about 50% are going to get through. And that's pretty normal, I think, at most institutions, most universities around the world that you're going to see this. And some are worse than others, depending on how they are set up. What we think in terms of how you view the dissertation or doing a PhD is that it's, if you haven't done it before, you probably think it's a lot. You're going to fail your courses and you're going to fail, from not meeting the threshold with your particular grades of a course. But that's not how it works. Typically, you do really well. Most people do well in their courses or tend to do okay with their courses. And the reason why people fail during graduate school or doing their PhD, doing their doctorate, is because you stop working towards your goal. It is a lot different. It's a motivational thing. It is something that is keeping you driving towards something. That's the reason why people fail typically. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're not smart enough. It's nothing to do that, that they don't have the requisite skills and requirements. And, most people, it's just because that they stop working towards a particular goal that they've been working towards. And it just doesn't mean that much to them, right? So why do people actually fail at their dissertation? The reason is that they just lose faith in the research process, in themselves. They just stop. They have a serious bout of depression, for example. They really go through some downtimes, and we all go through these downtimes when you are doing research. It is extremely common because you're motivating yourself to go forward, and the outcomes from that thing, the action that you're performing, are much farther in the future, and you do get beat up. There's lots of negativity with the career, and so you have to be okay with that, right? So that's an important thing. So another reason why is that people, they don't see the end to the research or the thing that they're doing. So this is the reason why a lot of academics, lots of professors are going to leave, is that they just see that this sort of research continues on and on and on, and it continues going forward, right? There doesn't seem to be an end of what they're doing. It's like Groundhog's Day every single day. And it just kind of gets, monotonous, or they get tired of doing that particular thing, and they just don't see the outcomes of doing that particular thing. So often what you'll do is you'll do some research route, and then you'll realize it doesn't work out after a couple of months, and you try another thing, it doesn't work out after a couple of months, and you keep doing that for maybe you do that 3 or 4 times, and then you just kind of get like really exhausted of doing that, and you're like, why am I going to do this, right? Why continue on doing this thing? Another reason that you see a lot of people, failing out of their dissertation or failing out of their PhD, they get what is called being stuck in ABD. So all but dissertation, they finish the coursework and then they don't continue going forward. It's because they believe that everybody else is smarter than they are, and that they think that they can't do what everybody else is doing. And so it's kind of more of a belief thing. This is not true. Everybody is very, very talented when they get into a PhD program. They're all smart, otherwise you wouldn't get in. And so everybody just kind of believes that if you believe that everybody else it's easier for you, then it becomes this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. Or if you believe everybody else is getting it easier than you are, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then you kind of just pull back, and you're like, I just don't have faith in myself going forward. The other thing that tends to happen, and another thing that can happen, is you get focused on other tasks that are not getting you towards completing your research and getting your work done, right? So you do things like teaching, doing YouTube videos, podcasting, calling the kettle black here, right? Doing things that are not related to your research or to your end goal, and it just takes longer to get it done. You just kind of give up, right? So you need to work every single day, at least work days, in order to get the particular thing done. And now, who are most likely going to fail during their dissertation? Honestly, this is probably really difficult to predict. I would imagine that there are probably some demographic factors that are going on there, and it's usually probably, I would suspect it's just probably because of social economic status. Having people that are around you that are recognizing the particular degree, other people that have done that kind of stuff before, and they're saying that, this is tough, and you've got mentors to deal with. But, other than that, I don't think that there's a really good predictor. I would say if you talk to all the different professors around the world, they would probably say there's not a really strong predictor in terms of who's actually going to fail out during a dissertation. There's lots of people that look really smart, they look really talented, that come in, and it just doesn't jive with them. So it's hard to sort of think about what is the predictor going forward. Now, how can you actually prevent yourself from failing in a dissertation? Well, I think that there's a number of different tricks that I have been doing, and I'm not perfect at it, just like everybody else, but I've been practicing years and years, and so it is getting better, but still is tough. I'm not going to admit that this is easy for anybody. So what you can do in terms of preventing yourself from failing out on your dissertation or during your research is you just stay fairly detached from your research itself, right? So you want to think of it as this is more of just kind of like a career or something that you're just doing. It's kind of an obligation to do what you're trying to do. It's not necessarily, as soon as you start feeling like it's a part of you and it's really attached to who you are, which it is. I'm not discounting that at all. It's truly, it is a part of you. But as soon as you start feeling that, then you have a lot more pressure in terms of dealing with it, and then you never want to leave, and then you drive yourself into, you could just drive yourself into these crazy, just being really hyper focused on something, and then you feel bad if you're not doing that. And so you have to feel more detached and work on this detachment. That's going to help you going forward in terms of, prevent you from failing out of the dissertation. So even if it's not that good, or you think it's not that good, you could stop and say, well, it's good enough. That's going to help you going forward, right? And then the other thing that's going to help you do is that when you write things, you can delete that stuff, right? So as soon as you feel wedded to, you wrote 10 pages and you're really wedded to those 10 pages, then it's going to really hurt for you to delete that. But that's a natural process in terms of what you're doing. So the less detached you are to those 10 pages, the better off it is. It's not easy. We all struggle with it. But the more detached you are, the more that you can deal with, negativity or deleting the efforts that you've done. When somebody gives you feedback and that they're just attacking the idea, they're not attacking you personally. And the more that you can detach from that, the better off you're going to be. The second thing is just a lot of grit. So it's like Angela Duckworth's research about grit, right? So you just got to keep going, struggle through the things that are difficult, and you just don't stop no matter what, right? So whoever knocks you down, whatever knocks you down, you just keep going, and you just, discount that stuff as like, well, I don't really care about that. And the more that you can do that, the better off that you can keep going forward with the career. And I would highly stress that in terms of being able to actually get a PhD done, to be a successful researcher is very much this kind of keep going, persistence kind of mentality is going to really help you going forward. And then the other thing, so a third thing that is helpful is try to imagine yourself as, a world-class athlete or, somebody that is saving the world in one particular area, right? So imagine yourself, do sort of gamification, play it up, have fun, and think of yourself as training towards something. And so world-class athlete, they have fun. They do a lot of things on the side, but they still do their work, right? So they're going to do their 4 hours of training in the morning and 4 hours or 3 hours of training at night, and the rest of the time it's their own time, and they're maybe they're doing other things, right? And that's kind of what you should be thinking about with the world as yourself, as dealing with going forward. How do you actually deal with some of these stressors that you have during your dissertation that is going to prevent you from completing it, right? So imagine yourself as just a world-class athlete, and you're training and you're doing the things to get that get your research done. And it's a lot of it, and this is the way I was taught, so it's actually a really kind of good way to think about it, is you want to think of it as kind of a training ground, as knowing how to do research, actually getting how to actually deal with all this kind of stuff. So the more that you're viewing it as training and an apprenticeship, it's going to help you a lot more going forward than this is like, once I get this thing, my world's it's all gonna complete and everything's gonna be better. That's not the way it works. It's training ground for you to keep going, and then you have a blessing, doing one of these things, right? Blessing going forward that you are doing the right things going forward. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.